Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another Song of Ice and Fire Battle Report. Today we've got the Stormcrow Dervishes, so clickbaited you a little bit, so we don't have the new models, but we are testing the new rules to see how they handle in a Stark list replacing Umber Berserkers. We've also got two special guest commentators, Mark and Ado, so they'll be joining us to talk about some of the tactics of the battle report that's going on, walk you through some of the scenarios and perhaps situations or choices they would have made while they were playing. So let's dive into these lists and get started. Thanks, everyone. Cool. All right. Well, Ada, thanks for joining me today to run some commentary over this Lannister Stark game. I thought we'd start out by going over the two lists. So we've got a bit of a Lannister spam list, and then the person that came in and played Starks told them to bring in a bit of a heavy hitting list, and so they're testing out some Dervishes. So I thought what we could do is start by running through the Stark list and then talk about some of the possible, I guess, pros and cons of bringing what's been brought, and then do the same thing to the Lannister list. Does that sound good?
Sounds good to me.
Perfect. All right, cool. So I'll also make sure that this stuff appears on the screen as we're talking about it, just so that way it gives people something to look at. Okay, cool. So Liam bought a 10 activation Stark list to this game.
Not a surprise.
No, especially with Starks in the meta. I think, I mean, you can play them at 8 or 9, but I think 10 is their sweet spot, if I'm being honest. And he's definitely made some choices that I probably wouldn't have made, which is quite nice to see. It's not just a Sworn Swords sort of spam 5-point cheap units that are quite effective. But he's got Howland Reed as his commander, and then he's taken Roderick and Arya as his two NCUs. So obviously, utilizing that free commander option there, but then being able to take critical blow and get a free maneuver once per round is also quite good. Oh, sorry, once per game.
And that's from Arya.
Yeah. And then for his combat units, he's using Rob, so the attachment Rob in Stormcrow Dervishes, which is amazing because it makes him speed 7 just off the bat.
Yeah. Deadly yo-yo unit.
Oh, it's brutal. And their drop-off as well, attack-wise, is quite good. First rank is 8, second rank is 7. Like, they're still quite effective after losing 4 guys.
Yeah, so look, it's a 10-point investment in what he's got on the table, but when you consider overall he's managed to still get 10 activations, it's a pretty fantastic 10-point.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this 10-point unit is to try and replace the 10-point Rob Zerker unit that kind of runs around. So he's got him. Obviously, then he's got Greywind. And then he's got some Umber Great Axes with Bran and Hodor in there as well. So I think that's pretty standard kind of combination, making sure you get those D3 additional precision hits when you start engaged.
Am I remembering the last update correctly that they are now speed 5 instead of speed 4?
No, I think they went back to speed 4.
Okay.
Yeah. So
a bit of a defensive unit that hits really hard. It's a good choice.
But then I guess with your start cards, you can make free maneuvers and you can add one to your speed, and you can make all these out of turn charges, which is quite good.
Yeah, it's very hard to pick the unit that goes speed 4 though, and give it a free maneuver when you've got a speed 7 monstrosity on the unit on the table as well.
Well, he's done. I was gonna say he's done it twice.
Oh wow! Okay.
He's taken Tully Sworn Swords as well.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, there are some interesting choices in this list.
Yeah, absolutely. And so he's put Rickon and Osha in the Tully Sworn Swords, which I get because it's kind of like taking Sworn Shield, sorry, because it's like taking Corrin, isn't it, in Vets, and you just sit there and you wait for your unit to slowly bleed to death, and then you bleed your opponent.
I think that's a fantastic choice. I'm a real fan of Tully in the Stark faction. I play a pure Tully list, and I know how good those Sworn Shields, how much value you get out of them, especially now that they've made them a little bit cheaper.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, 7 points was a bit too much of a stretch, but 6 points is quite a good medium, I think.
Yeah, they were competing against far better choices, and we'll talk about the Dervishes probably being one of the best 7-point choices too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they are fantastic. And then, so he's got Shaggy Dog, he's got Summer, he's got Greywind, and then the last thing he bought was some Stark Bowman with Mira Reed.
So if I got this right, every unit on the table has a unit attachment.
Correct.
Wow. Okay.
absolutely correct. 10 activations. That's quite good.
Yep.
But
Yep, it is. I'm looking forward to. I haven't watched the game, and I am now looking forward to the game.
yeah, exactly. I mean, this is the first time you're going to see it as we run through. And then so to counter that with my Lannisters, I did a bit of a Lannister guard spam. And so I took 4 units of Lannister guardsmen with guard captains, just
Love it.
to essentially make sure that Lannister supremacy goes off. And then the image I sent you actually is incorrect. I updated it slightly. And so I changed. I was initially going to run with Knights of Casterly Rock, just for some sort of fast-moving, hard-hitting, I guess, steel. But then I changed it, and I took a squad of Mountains men with the Hound, with Sandor Clegane. Just to punish people on failed morale checks, because he deals an additional 2 wounds to that. You're losing minimum of 4 each turn, up to 6.
Yeah.
And it's brutal when it happens. It's just, even if you cause 1 wound, you can kill 7 people on a failed morale check, on a bad failed morale check.
Especially me at the moment.
Yeah, your D3 dice rolls are terrible. Terribly high when you don't want them, and then terribly low when you do want them. Oh.
They're not. That's not my favorite dice. I gave it away.
yes. And then the 3 NCUs that I bought was Ruse, Cersei, and Tyrion.
Nice choice. Now, you did mention to me just before the show that there were some changes you might make to this list.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I liked Ruse, and I liked the fact that he handed out panic tokens all the while. But I was thinking about changing him for the High Sparrow, just to make it sort of a pure Lannister list. Because while his cards are good and you can use them to shut down units' abilities and things, the sort of caveats to most of them, or 2 of them at least, are that they do extra damage if there's a House Bolton unit in the way. And so, as good as it would be to put Ramsay Snow inside the Mountains Men and do the same thing that Sandor does, he's just a point more expensive, and I can't really justify swapping out Cersei or Tyrion for Pycelle to kind of counterbalance that point.
Gotcha. So on the Stark, sorry, just going back to the Stark list.
Yeah.
Because the same sort of choice has been made with Howland Reed. A lot of his cards also trigger better when there's a Craggyman unit involved, and he's getting that with Mirror Reed on the table, but that's the only Craggyman on the table.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I've toyed up ideas of using, instead of using Starkbowmen, I understand why you use Starkbowmen because they've got such good shots and they hit really well, using the Stormcrow archers and putting her in there, because then she becomes free.
Okay, yeah, that's nice.
So essentially it does the same thing. I think it's 1 less shot and you're not hitting as well, but the point is you've got a Cranogman unit on the table, you can drop your traps, you can then shoot using the bags or the swords, which is cool. And you still have that long range, so
yeah, very nice idea. Okay.
Yeah, it is part of my Howland list, but yeah, so those are essentially the lists. Obviously, you've got Ruse in the Lannister one to just hand out panic for when Lannister supremacy kicks off. You've got Cersei to make sure that Lannister supremacy is going to happen, and then Tyrion for kind of card draw and then manipulation of your opponent's hand.
Yeah, it's this will be an interesting insight to the Brisbane local meta, which is generally high activation Starks do very well.
Yeah.
And we do love to experiment a lot, and spam is our favorite meat in Brisbane. So
yes, it is.
Just disgustingly so. We do love to spam. When you get a good idea, what's better? Plenty of it. So
yeah, exactly. So that's what you'll see in this list today. If you guys have any kind of lists you want to see played, just chuck us a comment. Make sure that we're aware of it, so we can kind of pull it together for you, get it up on the table in a particular scenario that you might be interested, or something like that. Something else that I quickly wanted to bring up was just the statistics on the channel. So 70-ish% of you aren't subscribed. So just make sure you click the subscribe button to keep seeing all the stuff that we're bringing up. All right, well, I guess we should just get into it and go from there. So we're playing Clash of Kings.
Yeah, by doing this. So taking Cersei as like on the horse. Yep. Attacking Cersei.
Unless, of course, I have Southern Charge, in which case you're...
It's irrelevant.
Yeah.
But still, the point is, it denies it.
What's the scenario we're going with?
So the scenario here is Clash of Kings. So we're starting off with those 2 units on the board.
Gotcha.
I'm going to view my cards. Quite intriguing. Then I'm going to take... It doesn't really matter.
No.
But I'm going to take Howard. I'm going to take that. I'm then going to say...
Also, I've added in this thing down the bottom here, the board,
Yeah,
just so people can actually see it, because it was a little bit out of frame when we filmed.
and it always.
I'm going to vulnerable that unit that I just did. Yep.
Interesting move, putting Cersei straight onto the horses. Opening move.
Yeah, I kind of, I think I slipped my mind a little bit there, because I'm used to having Peter Baelish and then double tapping the crown on something.
Gotcha.
On the crown.
Yep.
And I'm going to crown those guys for a moment. Do you want to wait?
So,
Also, we started filming off camera, and then we put it back on to camera.
I have no cards to play. So I'm taking 4 wounds.
Yes. Take it.
Yeah,
It doesn't
what's the
reduce your
model?
shooting that much, and you can just pop back on the bags and heal them. But if you do that, you then can't make a free attack.
It's always a good start.
Yeah, that sort of forces his hand a little bit as well to jump on the bags and heal back up, as a bit of almost a knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah, so you lose a bit of control. But he wasn't going to do anything with his swords in that situation, so fair call.
Perfect. All right, and then I'm just going to take Ruse on here.
So you both had 3 NCUs as well. So
Yeah, exactly. So the board was always being used.
I like playing against you because
it's going to be so interesting when we get more options.
Your turn. My turn.
yes.
I'm going to activate Arya.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, I'm just going to mark.
I like this scenario. It starts off quite passive.
Done. You can next turn.
Yeah, and I think
Nothing.
it kind of... Sorry, what was that?
I was just about to say it, and then it escalates. Becomes very brutal.
Yeah, no, it's really good. The other thing I like about it is that it kind of plays sort of on even footing for people with lower activations, in the sense that if your stuff dies, you can bring it back.
Yeah.
And it counteracts these high activation lists. So even though there's 10 Stark activations, and I've only got 8, it doesn't really feel like there's much of a difference.
Yeah, you almost got to time your kills to
Yeah.
get the best result. So killing something that's already activated just feels like a double down.
Yeah.
Not only are you going to get some points, and you're removing something from the board, which always makes you feel good. It doesn't really come straight onto the board. It's got to wait a turn, which can be quite brutal when you get it. But it's a timing issue. It's interesting.
I'm just going to pause this real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Is it really loud for you, the game?
No, the game is quite quiet.
Okay, cool.
In fact, I can barely hear what you guys are saying.
Oh, good. That's what I want to hear.
Oh, cool. Oh, not here.
That's what I want to not hear.
I noticed you guys put 2 trees, up that same end of the board, and you concentrate on a lot of your stuff there. So, not a great deal of confidence on the leadership part of the game.
Well, it's not that. I just wanted to make sure that Lannister supremacy was going to kick off as much as possible.
Gotcha.
So I needed all the help I could get, because even if you get flanked, it still then just takes it back to a 7.
Mm-hmm.
So, you've got like even odds to make sure that you're going to pass.
One, you can't start over, and 2,
Yeah, without actually having to trigger off the order, which
Exactly.
can only happen once.
Yeah, that's right. 1 order, yeah.
And I find those Lannister guardsmen pretty up saves.
No.
Oh, mate, they are the anvil.
Now, here's where
I love the position he's got for those archers. That's really good.
kind of fucked himself in a way.
Yeah, it's really good centrally,
You know
or just south of center, should I say?
Yeah, well, he's managed to. I mean, with some good measuring. He's managed to cover 2 objectives.
I'm gonna double check
With the
exactly
range
what
unit,
thing it
which
is, so I don't
is
lie
perfect.
from the
You can
camera.
leave them there for the rest of the
My
game,
memory's not always the best.
and they can play a part in the game.
I think with Rob's unit.
Yeah, exactly.
to attack,
Exactly.
Yep, I'm gonna use.
And I think we'll see that as the game progresses.
You use Roderick?
And he gets the added bonus of a little bit of protection from the stakes.
As part of that,
That's fine.
Roderick is going to apply himself to Rob. And then, what I'm going to do.
At least you don't have someone.
No, but I have a critical. Which is nearly as good. I am in the front arm.
That's the reason I didn't move any further forward.
Yep. I am about 8 inches away once I take a look out from turning. Or I can just charge straight in.
Either way, it's an if. Like if you roll a 1 on either of them, you're in, and they're both.
So I think, yeah, the Dervishes are already getting into their first charge.
I'm thinking I'm actually going to go.
And they're, even just with their march move, starting at long range, they're already within range to charge turn 2.
Maybe ending up in
Yeah,
the
speed
way.
7
So
really,
it's gonna head
really is
straight.
going to kick in.
Charge.
Yeah, it's amazing. And he didn't march the entire 14 inches that he had.
So I'm going to go forward.
Yeah, but I mean, I can't see any other option for you. You had to contest those objectives. I mean, it's the one downside of the guardsmen.
It is 8. I knew it was on 3s. I just needed to.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Well, you've got to take a hit, though, don't you, in this game?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what this list is designed to do. It's just designed to be hit.
We'll just use our imagination and imagine that they were extremely good dice rolls.
I think he missed 5 times.
Wow.
But with the reroll, he only missed once. And then you've got like crit blow and things.
Yeah, because of
Blocking on 3s.
the influence that they got at the moment.
Correct. But I mean, 10 hits off of 8 dice is insane. And one of them was a miss.
Yeah. No, I do like it because the Dervishes are a fantastic unit. But they don't really do a lot in the actually dealing out damage. Like, there's nothing really special about that. You roll some good defensive rolls.
Yes.
Well done.
Yeah, I got very lucky.
Now you get a panic test with +1 because of the tree. And then the Lannister supremacy show
Yeah, why not? We'll spend the
starts.
time to make you reroll the 6.
Yeah, here it is. This is it. This is the game.
Just the 6?
Yeah, just the 6, yeah. The D3 is quite good.
Oh, come on now.
Now the good news is
Fail,
it's only
I lose
-1.
4.
Yeah.
So, yeah, because of the tree as
But
well.
your attack drop off
Is
isn't really
1
effective. Yeah,
at
that's
the moment.
amazing.
Now I get a free
Ooh.
retreat.
So that's the exchange.
Oh,
I mean, he's taken a free charge, and he's lost 4 men for just killing 2.
yeah, it's not a good exchange. Not when it's a 10-point activation hitting into a 6-point activation like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that must have been frustrating for the Stark player because I know
There.
his play style is very much a strong alpha Stark list. You know, he's used to getting some
Yeah, I think. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I think this Lannister list is it's okay at blunting that in the sense that you've got things that have good armor save. The difference between Berserkers is that I would have been rolling 4s, not 3s.
When you inevitably charge me again.
It's still a good sign here because, and he took the money bags just to rub it in. It's still a good sign because he managed to do that and bounce back to a position of safety because your units are just a little bit on the slow side, so they're going to struggle to
Let
get
that be clear.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Let it be
And he
clear.
hasn't activated the unit, so he's still coming again. I just don't know
I'm
how
going to
keen
put
it's going to be on that.
Howland here. On the off
And
chance
putting
that something
Cersei on
happens.
that unit just,
Chance that they get good.
yeah, just screams, please, come on, back in again.
So again, looking for a 6.
Ooh,
That's fine. 7.
-1 to hit on you.
No one gets shocked.
No one gets shocked.
Well, actually, it's a 7 anyway.
And you took the crown away.
Oh yeah, good point.
Even.
Yeah, exactly. He had to, because I think my next move, if he hadn't done that, would have just been to crown Rob's unit again.
Now, here's where it gets really
Especially with Cersei, taking it to a -2.
Yeah,
I mean,
they
I know
should open up the letters for you so you can get another 2 cards
Where
in
did I
your
put
hand,
that panic token? There it is.
Yeah,
which I'm pretty sure you did. Yeah, well done.
yeah, exactly.
And that's your turn, sir.
Yeah, you're getting good control over that board at the moment. It's nice to see.
And that's
Yeah, I'm getting what the Lannisters kind of need, basically.
even if I want to.
No, I get that. So I'm going to bring these guys on because now we're in turn 2. We can start doing that.
Yep.
So I'm going to bring these guys on. I'm just going to pop them away.
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah. That's what I'm going to do.
I'm going to bring these guys on. And I'm going to pop them on.
Oh, that's nice and red, Aaron.
Yes, it's all fresh. It's all freshly supplied.
I know a sucker who will help you paint those Lannisters up.
Yeah, I might have to enlist that person's help.
I watched a Duncan Rhodes video.
I'll try.
Duncan's video was amazing.
Yeah, it's he is obviously very talented.
Yeah, I'm very jealous every time I watch him paint.
So how do I do it? Good? Here's where we get into the interesting part.
This board's about to get very crowded.
Yeah, there's going to be... there's going to be 12 units on the board very soon. So this is that replacement unit that I was talking about. Obviously, you got Mountains Men and then Sandor again, just kind of jumping in. I couldn't find the one that I'd painted when I was putting it together.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'm pretty sure I've seen that.
Yeah, because he's usually in some very black armor, along with the rest of my Mountains Men.
Straight and fine.
Do you have multiple Mountains Men?
Yeah, I've got 4 units at the moment.
Yeah, just wanted to strengthen that we love our spam in Brisbane comment, basically.
Well, I mean, whenever I play the Mountain as a commander, I just like having units that can be affected by the House Clegane keyword.
Yeah, makes sense. They're a little bit underrated in my opinion. But then I also like to test out, the bad units sometimes.
Yeah, no, I think they can get work done. Their problem is that they have to get the charge. And so something that I found that's quite good in them is... what's the unit called? I'm looking at it right now. It's the Halberdier upgrade, not the Guard Captain.
The assault.
The Assault Veteran. Because you get +2 dice and +1 to hit when you start engaged. So realistically, it kind of puts you back a rank, irrelevant of what's happened. So if you lose 4 to 6 models, it's still making you count as if you've got full ranks because your drop off is 2 every time.
I just feel like sometimes the deck doesn't support the more aggressive Lannister units.
Oh no.
The deck really wants you to manipulate and defend and play the boards, not the actual battlefield.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, with my massive experience of playing Lannisters, I've never played them. I've only ever played against them, and I've always enjoyed the games against Lannisters. We're weird. Yeah. I'd much rather face a Lannister army than a Stark force.
I forgot my little pivot tray thing.
There we go. How's that? Is that better sound-wise?
Yeah, it's perfect, mate.
There we go. I was trying to work out a way to increase your volume in my headphones and decrease this volume.
Oh, cool.
So hopefully this is good.
Yeah, I can't hear the game at all, so it's fine.
Oh, right, okay.
I can only hear you.
How's that?
Yep, still good.
Can you hear the game now?
Nothing. I don't want to hear the game.
Okay, cool. Well, in that case...
I'm just imagining a lot of swearing going on and frustration.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you'll hear some stuff in a second, which is quite funny.
I've actually got some spare... Oh, nicely done. I got some spare templates I'll be leaving with you for the games, just for you maneuvering and stuff.
Just gonna march.
Yeah, so obviously you can see some Lannister guards lining up against some Tully Sworn shields. It's essentially just going to be slapping each other in the face with 3-up saves.
I knew what I measured.
Lovely.
I knew I was fine.
Yeah, that's that fight could go for quite a while. Although leadership's not great.
Yeah, I mean the Tully leadership is 6, which is quite good. Mine's 7.
6 goes to 7.
Obviously, I can auto pass 1, but then I'm going to take damage every time that unit loses a rank because it's got Osher and Rickon in there.
Oh, very good. Yeah, that evens up to 5.
Mm.
Because I was going to say taking those leadership tests at -2 from Lannister supremacy is probably the most dangerous thing that they can face.
Yeah, exactly. And they don't have that the sort of cover of the trees to reduce that.
Yeah, what have you got underneath the board there? It looks like another set of spikes. It's a little bit hard for me to see.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's another set of spikes.
Nice.
So it's sort of funneled off. It was just in enough that the dogs couldn't run around it.
Gotcha.
So if they wanted to take it, which they could have, it would have just meant taking an activation or taking a free attack with the swords.
Well, that was a bold move by the Great Axes.
But I'm also setting up for some counters.
Can't help but feel that he might have something up his sleeve to make that get in.
Yeah, exactly.
So you can shift
So I'm
onto there.
doing some pre-measuring here, but I think I pre-measured a little bit wrong. So I just kind of went a little bit too close.
Yeah.
Absolutely fine.
I mean, it looks like you actually touched the thing that you were putting down the maximum range of. So
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's a gap between
Yeah, it was terrible. And then Liam just confirms this for me because he wants to check to make sure that I've measured properly, and I was well in.
We have to shift forward. Thank you for being
Oops.
Yeah. But no, he was a good sport, and he let me take it just touch back. So essentially, yeah.
Yeah. We like that. Yeah, to all that work and then purposely move into the wrong position. That's not great.
You know, he was a good sport on this one, but he's just.
because I think that's currently where I want to be in my life.
He's a very good player. Quite brutal.
Yeah, he definitely calculated quite a bit in this game, which enabled me to be able to do the same thing. Just kind of I gave it a try anyway, and it was a really good game.
I mean, like,
Yeah, I don't mind that. It's okay. But then sometimes I just like to go off where gut feels is the right move. Because sometimes that's really enjoyable. Whereas if you calculate it too much and then dice don't do what you want them to do, because they never do.
Just gonna throw 3 dice.
Yeah, no, they're unforgiving mistresses dice.
This is kind of sad for Liam because even the shooting is going to cause some leadership problems as well.
That's crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
But maybe I just won't fire.
And you've purposely left him a unit of Lannisters in a forest, a friendly forest.
Yeah, I mean, I thought about putting down corpse piles, but then everyone does that, don't they? There's always 2 weirwood trees, 2 corpse piles, and they're usually sitting in such a way that they cancel each other out most of the time, except for the ones that are on the end.
Yeah, we're a little bit risk averse.
Yeah. And I can't remember if we rolled for this terrain, actually.
No, okay, you may have generated a... That can be really fun, especially when you're experimenting, because you don't always get what you want. You usually get 50% of what you want on the table.
I'll make you re-roll the other
And then you don't get the side you want, so...
Yeah, exactly.
It is a very, very interesting game. I know it's a real turn-off for a couple of my friends. They don't like the 2D terrain. They're very much the hobbyist. But I find that this game pretty much does roll a lot better. So.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the 3D terrain's quite nice. The only, if I was going to make a rules change, it would be that you just couldn't go over it.
Yep. So it's completely blocking.
Yeah, exactly.
I shouldn't encourage you to give us views on your rules changes.
No, they'd get quite heated and they'd get down a very dark rabbit hole.
So I guess you failed that leadership test.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I think I failed by 1.
Wow.
Even with a 6, I think I rolled a 5.
They are still leadership 7, aren't they, Lannister?
Yeah.
That works for me. I had cards in my hand and I was like, I could do things.
And then Liam just loses 4 dudes in the exchange.
Second time.
Yeah. So at least with that exchange, it was an even exchange because I lost 4 men having to kill the person to pass the morale. So
unfortunate.
You could look at that as an even exchange, and as the person shooting the arrows and then just dying, I don't feel there's anything even about that at all. But I do understand what you're saying. I just don't agree.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
I don't feel. I don't feel. I feel like funny enough, when you play against a Lannister player who has a good army and knows what they're doing, it doesn't feel nice. Which is very fluffy and exactly what you'd expect if you were actually playing against Lannisters.
Yeah, exactly. This list is definitely negative play experience. So I just dropped a Flayed Man Has No Secrets on him and then took his hand to see what he's got.
I bet you he had some beautiful cards in his hand.
Yeah, he did. And the reason I expended the panic token on the bows is because they'd already failed their panic test.
Yeah.
So I didn't need to use it.
Gotcha. And that's the first objective that you're claiming now?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah. You're just daring those dervishes to come in and use more models.
Essentially, yeah. I mean, with Cersei on there, the fact that I'm sitting on a tree and I can kill a person to automatically pass morale, it's almost as if it's just going to melt a unit.
You've just turned off a big unit. I guess the dogs might be able to help though. He does have a vicious.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I just played calculated cruelty on Rob's unit, so it lost all of its abilities, the unit and the attachment. So it stopped it from being able to run away, basically.
Did he so he declared it being activated for that trigger? Or?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah. So now he's like, I really don't want to charge. There's no reason to.
Oh wait, no, sorry. That card there was the start of any turn, so I just did it at the start of any turn.
Oh, okay.
So I counterplotted the card that he played, which I think was Winter is Coming, to stop me flipping orders, so that I couldn't then use my guard captain.
I'm going to go in 50-50.
So essentially, yeah, with his speed of 7, he's in no matter what, because I moved in.
Does he still retain the speed 7?
Yeah, that's a good point. It should have been speed 6.
You're right.
Either way, he was still in, I think, because he was 7 inches away.
And he's put the charge automatically roll 6, isn't it?
Yeah, Northern Ferocity.
And do the extra impact hit.
Correct. Well, wounds, actually, because he controls the horse, I think it was.
Can't help but feel that might be the only damage you take from this one. So
no, I played another counterplot and I stopped it. Wow. So both my counterplots are gone turn 2.
Do you have a way to bring them back to your hand?
I do. So with the Lannister pays his debts, if you control a particular zone when you play the card, you can bring cards back from your discard pile. So it's the only way to get them back, unless you're playing Tyrion as a commander, and then you can just swap one of his cards essentially for one in the discard pile.
Brilliant. So you actually have a counter. Maybe you feel like it.
Yeah, almost. And there's one thing I need to check with his, because his card goes to the bottom of your tactics deck. And so I'm not sure if it's been answered, but theoretically you could have an unlimited tactics deck, in the sense that you pick it up, the tactics deck is done, so you would put it to the bottom, making a new tactics deck, so that you can draw up to 3 next turn and consistently use it to pull cards out of your discard pile as needed.
Yeah, I think the neutral deck has something very similar, but in their case, once you play the card, you actually have to discard the card.
Yeah, exactly. It removes it from play.
Yeah, but they haven't done that with the Lannister setup yet.
No.
I think they'll get there.
Yeah, I hope so. So he just attacked me, and I played Wealth of the Rock to increase my armor save.
Yep.
And block D3. And so I passed everything, triggering an automatic Lannister supremacy.
Yeah.
So he deals 3 wounds using Dire Wolf's Fervor.
Yeah.
And then...
I'm still holding the objective
At the moment.
Yeah, and he passed, and even though I had no panic. So even with all the minuses, because of the pluses and things, it balanced itself out.
Gotcha.
But he couldn't run away.
But it took a lot of resources to get back to the same point he was a moment ago, at the beginning of the turn, basically. So the net return is still on your side. But there
Yeah.
are three dogs there, all within striking distance.
He's a
It's
dog,
kind of
so he
interesting.
gets to maneuver anyway.
Well, yeah, it's they're kind of just the three amigos, aren't they, lined up in a row?
Yeah, well, what I'm seeing in my mind is at least one of them's going to end up hitting your flank. One can go into the front, quite nice, and then you just cause a series of panic tests. Have you used your token?
No, not yet. I don't think. Not on these guys.
Yeah. So the dogs don't care about -2 when they're so close to a tree. They can live with that.
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, even if they roll double one, it's
It's fine. You take a martyrs at -1.
So the first dog's hit.
You could die here.
We're good?
That would have been
It's
great.
a lot of resources. Like I've seen, I don't know,
The
almost
dog just realizing.
6 cards already been thrown down in this assault, and now we're starting to throw down even more activations on it as well.
yeah, it literally just blunts an attack. That's what it does. And then with this move here, with the way the kind of rules and positioning and thing works, he's not actually in the side. He's still in the front.
Yeah, he's got to come across a lot more than that if he's trying to get a side charge.
Yeah.
I wouldn't bother with that one. It's the outside dog that's got the best chance of getting another flank in there.
Yeah, so he just shuffles the dog up, I think, to activate. Because I'm activated out, so realistically now he's just taking his time. He's just got the dogs to go.
This is where I actually like to. Yeah, see, I wouldn't have done that. I know that's a move out of frustration more than anything. But what I would have liked to have done with that dog is, move forward and then march into a great position for a flank or rear charge next turn, just to force your activations. So I would have run it right down the middle there and literally turned around in front of that most rear unit of Lannisters.
Yeah, it would have been.
Facing a rear or a flank charge and going, I'll get some negatives on you one way or another. -2 to Lannister armor and to their leadership's not something that they want to. But it's something that you have to deal with, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
So you get a free set of combat with Cersei.
Well, I think I had to because the dervishes can be targeted by the moneybags to make an attack.
Yep.
So if I didn't take the swords,
He was
I would. Correct. I was taking two attacks for nothing. It's just So essentially, what I'm doing is I attack the main unit and I hit them 3 times.
Yeah. You're not a combat monster.
No, I mean it was statistically average.
The dervishes are 4-up armor save. Is that
correct? Yeah.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
So I mean, if you compare them to armor berserkers, which you probably shouldn't, they've got better armor save but then slightly worse morale.
Yeah.
But then their speed is the same. Their number of attacks obviously gets less, whereas with the berserkers, it becomes more with the less that you have. So it's an interesting trade-off, I think.
Yeah, can you see what I'm talking about? That dog was now in a position to rear charge. Just how that would force your hand not taking that free attack with that unit. You'd actually be charging a dog.
Yeah, exactly.
Which would set up the Stark's players' turn a lot better here. It's wonderful watching a game where you don't you have no stress and you don't have to make decisions on the fly.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. But so we've got Roderick. He's taking the money bags and now using that free attack. But I did shut down the NCU.
Yeah. So there was no heal involved.
No.
Looks like a good save there.
Yeah, I saved everything. The 3-up save is a godsend.
Yeah.
But yeah, he rolls a 12 for his
leadership.
And
there's no panics, and it's just Cersei, and then cleverly runs away, which is probably the cleverest thing.
Yeah, the fact that the dervishes are just so maneuverable. They're amazing. And then obviously we're talking about you've got the hints for the new Night's Watch unit. Could you imagine putting the veteran inside a unit of dervishes? I mean, I get that Rangers do the same thing, but dervishes are a point cheaper. Sure, they can't shoot, but they've got more attacks, better armor save, and a better leadership. Or the same leadership.
Than Rangers?
Than Ranger Hunters?
I don't think so. I think you'll find the Hunters hit on 3 to combat and roll 8 attack dice as well.
quite the inevitable free charge.
Otherwise, they're very similar. They're actually less armor. I thought they were actually leadership 6, but I could be wrong on that one.
Yeah, maybe they are leadership 6 because they're not the same as veterans. Veterans are leadership 5.
That's right. But I felt like they do feel like a more elite, in an elite army. So that's why I'm thinking they're a little bit better. But I am seeing some Dervishes, Night Watch, mixing it up with a little bit of the Rangers as well. So you can actually get 2 yo-yos.
Yeah, it's going to be
that
amazing.
that can be sick. The trick with the Dervishes is you don't actually want to go head on the way Liam the Starkslayer has here. I'd be trying to get into a flank, so I could then retreat to the rear of the table.
Yeah, exactly. And then your opponent obviously can pivot after that, but they're sort of forced to either expose their flank and rear to the front of the table, to the rest of the army that's marching across the board. Or
You are right about that Night's Watch veteran, because I think he actually stops you from pivoting, which is probably the most powerful part of his rule set. So
yeah, correct. And I think he's 1 point, if my memory serves. Could be 2, though. I mean, obviously, don't take this as gospel.
I actually don't think they gave us the points for him, and there's a lot of speculation in the groups. So even the Night Watch Facebook groups are not optimistic about the points there. They're a bit concerned about the fact that they feel he's going to be 2, and they're worried that he might be 3 points.
Yeah, I mean, like being 2 would be a good point value for him. I think a good range. 3 is too much. I mean, I think 3 for the unsullied unsullied lieutenant. No, the unsullied captain is a bit steep.
Well, I'm a Night's Watch player, and we were a little bit overwhelmed by expensive unit attachments quite some time, and expensive unit attachments didn't seem to do a great deal as far as the game's concerned. And yet, after listening to some of the designers talk about where they were hoping Night's Watch was going to look like, it seems to be that they're trying to head towards expensive units with great abilities and cheap NCUs to give you a little bit of flexibility.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they bring out an attachment for a unit that just screams points. This guy's got to cost points because he's just.
Yeah, no, it's going to be really interesting, I think. It's definitely something that I'm looking forward to. Just more money that I'm going to be sinking into it right now.
Yeah, they're doing a good job, aren't they? And my wallet leaps.
Yeah. I completely understand that. But
we were having many discussions about what will the cost of the the White Lions for the Targaryens, what are they going to be? And all I could think about is just how many boxes of that I'm going to end up buying. And can I do a whole army, like a zoo army, get some zebra riders and some White Lions on the table? I'll be very happy.
That'll be excellent, I think. I mean, I hope they would be a good points cost, sort of between that 3 to 5.
That's where we're falling. I think 4 for what they're doing, but I can see an argument for 5, and if they are 5, you won't see too many of them because 1 point extra and you get a nice unit of cavalry shooting those, which I feel like are a much stronger choice.
Yeah, they are. They're a very good choice. I sort of almost, and this is me going on my rules change tangent, but I mean, I wouldn't scrap the Co's. I would still take them as an upgrade for units that aren't Dothraki. So you can put them in things like Flayed Men and Zorse Riders. Oh yeah, we had some technical issues. The camera stopped working. So essentially, dog went into the side. I moved forward, got charged.
Yeah.
Got charged again. Got charged again.
Oh my! Yeah.
Moved forward, and then the top unit died, and the other dog went into the other unit of staff. But if you think about it, for all of those specific charges, the only unit that died was the Lannister unit up there.
Yeah.
So it wasn't too bad. And then the exchange here is 2 for 2. So he's killed 2 of my units just down the bottom of the board, and then lost 2 due to Lannister supremacy.
And he looks like he's in a fantastic position to get that flanking Dervisher unit. But the only downside now is I believe you've got a unit of the guardsmen that can come back.
Yeah,
Take
correct.
Okay. Looks
Um,
like he's going for all resources on the cards, which is
Yeah.
good to see.
So this here is it's illegal actually because of the new FAQ. You can't play things like sudden charge and winter is coming at the same time, so they have the same trigger because they're both played when you declare a charge, which
Yeah.
is really interesting because then you've got cards that will specifically say before attack dice are rolled and after attack dice are rolled. So utilizing, I think it is Mercy of the Mother or Protection of the Father. One of the highest barrier cards. Realistically, you only take 1 wound for every 2 unblocked hits if you pass a morale test, and that specifically says after attack dice are rolled. So, by that logic, when someone charges you, you should play it before they do anything.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like the timing wise, if the timing for both of those cards is when you declare a charge.
Yeah. I have some strong opinions on the timing windows in the game. I think it's the strength and the weakness of the game at the same time. Like, it's confusing,
Yeah, it needs to be.
which is weakness, but it's a strength because of the way that they've always been very strong on here's what the triggers are. What I would love to see, and I'll go on my own little tangent, sorry,
No, that's okay.
is basically they number it. So they actually number the phase, 1 to 10, and on the cards they have a thing that says when you do this, and they put 1 or 1.5 or 2 or something on there. So you actually know, you could look at the chart and go, oh, trigger is here. So if you had 2 cards in your hands that said number 1 on it, you know that you can't play it.
Yeah, exactly.
That would make life quite fun. Were you actually trying to zoom in on the really bad dice roll on that?
Well, I kind of did, but then I had the what's that? The song, "The Sound of Silence," just kicked off.
I feel like that was depressing because I don't know what actually happened, but I saw a lot of resources go down from the start player. Got this absolutely perfect charge. And now he's making a mistake because he's going backwards on the yo-yo. But anyway, he probably doesn't realize that. But he's just hit you again, and you've ended up with more models.
Yeah, and he's lost another 3. I mean, this is the beauty and simplicity of this list, and this is why I was going to take the horses, because then every unit in my army would have Lannister supremacy.
Gotcha.
And so,
yeah. But the only problem with the horses is you can turn off the abilities at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a nasty spot to finish.
Yeah, he capped the objective, but it's put him into a very strange kind of corner.
Does Rob comes back when that unit gets wiped out?
Yeah, that's the new update to the rules. All the attachments come back.
Okay, that's not so horrible, but I do think that unit's about to disappear. Having said that, you guys look like you're pretty deep, like turn 4 of the game. And, so far, only 1 unit's died.
Yeah, it's been it's been really interesting.
Yeah, I was going to say our normal style is by turn 4, someone's getting close to winning the game.
Yeah, no, this has just been a grind for the Stark player, I think, because obviously I can't really hit stuff. So this is my Mountains Men attacking Brand's unit.
Yeah. Some good armor saves.
Yeah, he passed 4, and I killed 1.
Yep.
And now it's a morale test at -3 overall because of Cersei and Vicious.
No, it should be -2. I think he's pretty close to a tree.
Oh, yeah, no, so but Cersei's on the unit. My unit has Vicious.
Gotcha.
And then he's next to a thing. And so he just lost 6 models.
Youch. We can laugh, but
I've come to talk with you.
Yeah. I mean, the Hound just gets stuff done.
Yeah, I do like that inclusion. That's an improvement they've made to the Hound, to make it a bit more playable because he just wasn't being taken prior to this. Is that right? Or?
Yeah, well, because he used to make things. He used to give them Vicious, so it was interesting in the sense that you could put him into a unit of halberdiers, and then you've got a Sundering Vicious unit.
Yep.
But he was wasted on things like Mountains Men because they already had it. So the fact that he now has cut them down is epic.
Does he
so-
give you affiliation for games?
yeah, he
as well?
does. Yeah.
Hmm.
So it's a good way to spread out that affiliation, especially if you've got the mountain as a commander.
It's definitely a lesson there for players. It's just because something, initially looks like it belongs to a unit, you shouldn't close down like what the potential is.
Yeah, exactly.
You're sitting there going, why would I put an affiliation Clegane into a unit that already is Clegane? But you just seen a result of it there. One of the most powerful units in the game, just being shut down. And
Yeah,
he didn't get to do. Oh, he's got Brand. Yeah, that's terrible.
yeah. So because I didn't charge, because he charged me,
Ooh.
I lost 2 more on the morale test. Yeah, because he charged me, he couldn't use Brand to make me disordered and reduce attacks.
Yeah, I know.
So
You're actually doing more damage when being charged than you are, when you're the one pushing the combat. So
yeah, exactly.
typical Lannister player. Done.
Exactly. The whole idea of the list is just to have things fall on the shields of the guardsmen, and then have the mountains men come in and hit stuff.
Let's face facts. When you choose a Thug's life, a Lannister's life, the whole point of the list is to make your opponent cry. And I think you're well on your way to making this happen. Making the Lannister magic happen.
Exactly. Experiencing that negative play experience.
we do enjoy it here. It's really good.
Still 2 for.
So I killed 2 models there.
Yeah.
And then he's got to take another morale test because I took obviously the free hit with Cersei.
Yeah, that minus. Yeah, he's really looking for a 1 on the damage dice.
Well, no. No, because the minimum outlay on this unit is 4.
Oh, okay. So it doesn't matter what he rolls.
Correct.
Goodbye.
Yeah. So essentially, and that's the good part about it is normally when you've got 2 ranks or like 1.5 ranks left, you're safe. But when you come against Clegane, when Sandor's around or even when Ramsay's around, that's not the case because they just add an additional 2 wounds.
Yeah.
Just off the bat, they're all, yeah, okay, cool, no worries, that's fine. But yeah, so this is where I think we start to see the tipping point where things start to die quite a bit more.
Yeah.
If my memory serves, yeah. But speaking of combos, someone put something into my head the other day, where normally I take Preston Greenfield in crossbows for the card draw.
Yeah.
And their idea was to take Meryn Trant for a very similar
What's he
reason.
do?
He enables you to lay down any token you want on a unit within 12.
Brilliant. Yeah.
So you just drop a vulnerable on something and then hit it with crossbows.
Yeah. Is that when the unit activates?
Oh, it's when he activates, yeah. So that's the only difference, is that you physically have to activate them, whereas with Preston you can get card draw by moving and just taking an action.
Yeah, I like Preston on the dogs unit in neutrals.
The Bastard Girls.
Yeah, just because you generally get to draw a lot of cards if your opponent doesn't know what's about to happen. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
You can shoot, draw some cards, charge on in, attack, draw some more cards. I think you get to do 2.
And you can do that all for free off of the swords.
That is 100% correct. Yeah. So as an opening move for an unexpected opponent, drawing 2 cards and taking a huge chunk out of someone. And I think they just gave those dogs Vicious just.
Yeah, they did. They absolutely did. I mean, there's there's so many, and the dogs work so well, I think, with a few attachments.
Yeah.
I mean, even Bronn.
Well, I was just going to say, your internet connection is unstable. Mine is. No,
sorry about that.
No, that's right. I was just going to say, one of the things I want to experiment is the Stormcrow leader in units of dogs, just to make those attacks even nastier. So both your shooting and your melee attacks happen after the shooting can potentially be sundering if you're controlling the bag. can be
Yeah.
quite strong.
It's quite a good combo if you've got Peter Baelish, and I understand that it's an investment in the sense that you're paying 7 points for Bastard Girls, so it comes to 12 points total. But then, if you control the bags and use the swords, and you're within range, you shoot and charge with two lots of sundering attacks. Generally, and vicious. Generally, you're going to kill something from the front.
Well, anything light's going to disappear. I don't know about your Lannister guardsmen here. I think they could probably stand for it.
Oh yeah, probably. The wardens will stand for it as well to stop you getting bonuses and things. But then I guess playing an inexperienced Baratheon player, they can obviously flip their order with that Master Warden. But if they flip it too early, you're just like, okay, no worries, it's fine. We have a new phase. It's just amazing.
Is he going to do it?
It would be funny.
Play that
It would
card.
be funny if it worked.
There's lots of action going on here off the tables. I don't know what's actually happening.
I think I attacked. Who did I attack? Oh yeah, the dog attacked me.
Fucking way in hell.
And so, so what happened was I was going to play Paid Mutiny because I had it in my hand, and we were talking about how funny it would be if the dog died to Paid Mutiny, but I chose not to play it, and then he rolled double one for his hits, and I should have played it because it would have died.
Would die.
Because I control the money bags, would have taken 3 wounds, it would have just been dead. Oh, the things. But then, he passed his morale test. And you'll see, not to give too much of it away, but you'll see how much of a bane these dogs become.
They're good.
They are good. I can see, and I know this is probably unpopular opinion, number 5 or 10 or whatever.
We're getting there in the episode.
In this game, we're getting there. I think they should potentially change them to work the same way as bears, in the sense that it's not an extra activation, it's a bonded activation. And so if they're outside of 12 inches of the unit that controls them, they die.
They
go away.
for a bit.
Yeah.
But then if we brought them back to bear style, I'd make the argument that they weren't worth victory points either.
Exactly.
Because the bears are insignificant, and I think they're fantastic with that rule set.
Yeah, correct. Like, I would make them all the same. I would say all the wolves, all their attacks, precision, so you don't get saves. They're insignificant. They have 2 wounds, and they have a 4-up save. Which again is probably an unpopular opinion, because depending on who you talk to, everyone justifies armor differently. So
That's right. I don't know. I would like to think about that. Every opinion's unpopular.
Yeah.
At least someone. So that's the way it works. Usually sometimes it's only popular with one person. That's a shame, but that's the way it works too. So
generally it's me. I'm the only person that thinks my opinions are popular.
Can the dog can charge through, can't it?
So it can charge through its own unit, yeah. But it can't clear it on the move.
Yeah.
So because of where we're positioned, we're just too close.
Yeah.
So the dog essentially just goes in.
I just think it's crazy he didn't choose again a flank.
No, you're about to see some of the jankiest shit I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, perfect. I've been waiting for it. Because so far, the Stark player's been getting touched inappropriately in this game.
So essentially, what Liam's doing is he's trying to work out where the middle of my base is to work out if he can then charge Rob into the flank of this unit.
Gotcha.
And clear the wolf.
Yeah. Oh, I see. So when he does a 50-50.
Correct, yeah. So because of the way it lines up, the wolf that he's got in there is in the right side, and then it's just gonna escalate quite quickly.
Nice. He's got to clear a lot of dogs there.
Yeah, those dogs, they're so good. For their, I want to say they're points, but they're not worth anything.
Did he choose not to attack with the dog into the
No, he just wanted to see if it would work.
Oh, so this is just a...
Yeah, this is just essentially a precursor to what's going to happen next turn.
Looks good to me.
Yeah, it's right on. And because you can obviously be as close to your units as you want, that's fine.
Yeah, I like it. All right. Well, he's got options there. I still feel like that unit of Dervishes is just going to go into the flank, deal some damage, and then disappear. So,
I was going to say, we're on turn 4 and that unit still hasn't died.
That is impressive in itself, but it hasn't really, like, it contributed a little bit to a death of a Lannister unit.
Yes.
So, you know, and I guess he has picked up that objective point, which is nice. So he's not doing too bad with it.
Yeah, it's doing what it needs to do.
Even though it's being manhandled literally every time it goes into combat. So
Yeah, I have been able to turn off its abilities in a good amount of times.
It's fantastic. It's the 10-point activation. Just imagine if your opponent didn't know how to do that. Like, what do you think that Dervisher unit could achieve? You know, if it did get a really good flank and your opponent wasn't able to turn it off or didn't have spoiling tactics like Lannister supremacy and rock hard guardsmen, I think it'd be a very different game.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
In fact, I feel like my free play just wouldn't want to know about this game. Either side, to be honest with you. Oops.
Yes, it's all right. This is slightly premature.
Now he's got plenty of room for a charge.
Well, so if you look down in the bottom left-hand corner, you've got the group of dice, and it says the group of 4 just there, and you see there's a 5, a 6, a 5, and a 4.
Yeah.
So we rolled it, and then in our excitement, we forgot that Howland Reed was on there, and now this is where we remember.
Oops.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Yeah, so fortunately, because I didn't just pick my dice up and throw them away, I just shifted them to the side. We just re-roll.
Do you want to just re-roll those down?
Whole series of minuses. Yeah.
I forgot about it.
What'd you roll?
So I rolled 4 hits is what we thought, and then we just got him to re-roll the saves, essentially, because it should have only been 3. And I think he still failed 1, so I still think he took a wound.
What about the panic test? Should be okay.
And then I think we forgot the panic test in just the entire excitement of everything that was going on.
And they...
That's what we do. It's a casual game.
Yeah, exactly. So this is where I played Paid Mutiny. So it takes his leadership to a 7. And now he's furiously looking through his cards to see what he's got. And he fails and just takes 3 wins.
Sweats profusely.
Yeah.
I mean, it would have been better if there were 3 models in the unit, actually, but... Yeah, so it loses the attachment abilities.
So now it's just 1 rank of Dervishes going into a flank.
Yeah, I mean, they still get 4 attacks, and they still hit on 3s, which isn't bad. But,
you know, I gotta say, I would just sat on the objective.
Well, you've still got the wolf, and then my unit over here is activated, so it's safe, so it couldn't be charged.
Yeah.
So he still kind of is in that spot. And then he's got critical blow and things on 4 dice with sundering as well.
Yeah, so he's got Roderick on that unit.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so realistically, if you're playing an inexperienced player with this particular unit in the Stark list, with a Rob attachment, you can get it to make 3 attacks. Because you can take the horse for the free charge.
Yeah.
4 activations, realistically. You can then charge it again and attack.
Yeah.
If you don't kill the unit, just stay in combat, and you can use the swords and the money bags.
Yeah.
To just chain activations this thing. So, but yeah, after the 5 hits, he just blitzed 5 guys.
Nice.
With the sundering and the minus to the side.
Yeah, the dog wasn't going to do that. Yeah, I think sundering on that unit is lethal.
Yeah, and it's got vicious as well, because he controls the swords, or the horse, I think, should I say.
+1, so -2 overall. So goes to 9.
Is that a pass?
No, it's a fail. So it's minus. It was -2 overall. So base leadership 7 goes to 9. So then I flip my order. I'm pretty sure.
Gotcha.
And so now Lannister supremacy kicks off, but he passes.
And there's no panic to do anything.
No, I didn't have any cards either to play to kind of make it worse.
I'd hope not.
He's got one dog left.
But the
I
thing
don't know
is,
what he can do.
Thing is,
I do like that unit, though.
thing is, go fuck yourself.
wait.
Yeah, I hadn't activated Ruse yet, so I just activated him as a throwaway unit because I've still got this unit down here in the bottom, except for now he's playing Swift Advance.
Lovely.
So he gets a nice 5-inch maneuver before he does anything.
Swift advantage.
5 or 4.
Well, 4 base and then +1 because he controls the horse.
Nice.
Because we slightly did this out of order as well because I thought I'd activated it out, and then when I looked down at the board, I realized I hadn't activated that bottom unit. So this is me just swinging into his guys, and I hit him 4 times.
Yeah. And the Tullys block some of it.
Yeah, they're going to block D3.
So you're at least going to make one save. Go on, flip your order, block D3.
So they block 2. Yeah, they block 2.
And then they got 3 up armor saves. One of my favorite units.
And he failed both.
And that's great because he does damage to you now. Is that right?
Yeah, so I take a wound, but then he's going to take a morale test.
Fuck me.
Lannister guards getting it done, boy. Kick you down, kick you.
It's not the worst one, though. No leadership 6.
Yeah.
And he just lost another 3.
Okay.
Panic test.
I mean, it would have been good to get the 4th, but then at the same time would have taken another wound, which wouldn't have made them as robust.
Charge.
Yeah, for sure.
And then, yeah, he charged into the Mountains Men.
Should be the end of the mountains.
Yeah, I mean, with the amount of attacks that those guys have, and their drop-off is fantastic too. It's 886.
Yeah, they become a little bit more similar to the Berserkers.
Yeah, it's ludicrous for 7 points.
Oh, they're a very strong unit.
I mean, with 1 rank, precision, it's just insane.
Didn't look like the greatest role in the world, but you know, let's see. Looks like yeah,
8 hits it was.
nice.
So then I get a 4-up save because there's no negs, and I fail 1.
1. Wowzers.
Yeah, dice were hot, I think. But this was, yeah, failed that.
Roll panic test.
Okay, but realistically, that unit should have disappeared.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all right. It doesn't matter too much.
No, it's not the dead unit.
It's not the dead unit. It's fucking.
But, yeah, no, we are, and then the dog obviously just hopping onto the objective to make sure that it's capped the point. So this middle point is just being contested something chronic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You've got 5 units realistically all within striking range of it.
Well, none of the units in combat with your unit, you're not fully on it, so I don't think you're claiming it, but there's not a single rank there. Like, you've got 1 rank, the dog's got 1 wound left, and Rob's on his own. It's
Yeah.
pretty brutal.
3 hits.
Ouch.
So yeah, Lannister supremacy.
Yeah.
It's yeah. So at the moment, this is the victory points 5-3. I mean, I haven't changed the activations because obviously you have that many essentially almost every turn, because units are coming back onto the board.
Yeah. But you're right, there's a lot of weak activations left on that table. There are at least 4 units in peril in my mind. So.
Yeah, you've got Mountains Men.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the unit next to them.
Yeah, you got Osha and Rickon, who are worth extra victory points. You got the dog on 1 wound. You got
Rob Stark.
This is where you want a Catelyn, don't you? And just go, hey, we're back.
Yeah. So I changed this here because of Tyrion's order, and I realized that I did this wrong. It should have been Cersei, just so I could put Cersei onto the great axes and then swing with the Mountains Men.
Yeah, makes
Because
sense.
even with 4 dice, it would then be -3. So
No, the fact that you're removing the unit, half of the unit on the leadership test is pretty brutal.
yeah, I mean, it's minimum of a rank, which is fantastic. I don't know if I've said that before, but oh man, I love it. And I mean, I'm tempted even to change to lose Tyrion and I know this might sound controversial because you get obviously a greater starting hand. You've got orders where you can screw with people's cards. Take Pycelle and then swap Sandor out for Ramsay Snow and Theon, so that I'm handing out Panic, which is then assisting Ruse, and I have a Bolton unit. So then when I'm playing those Ruse cards, I can take the effects by saying, right, great, you take additional wounds, I'll restore additional units. I'm still cutting people down. Like, it still works, it's just, yeah.
I think you can go either way, like whichever way you want to do it. If you want to drop Bruce and just power up with the Lannister and a few more leadership and healing, that makes sense.
Yeah,
I mean, if you want to try and turn on a little bit more power by putting a Bolton in the table, paying the points for that seems like a good plan. Did Liam ever set off traps at all?
Well, one turn I turned off his units, the attachments abilities. So not only did he lose traps, he lost Cranog. So I was able to pull out of there. And then I think I intrigue and subterfuge Roderick again because he's such a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
But I think he forgot when I killed Hodor's unit the first time.
That he got back with an order. Tricky activation.
So you got leadership sort of 7 at the moment.
Ooh.
So yeah, I flipped my order just to stay alive because obviously I would have died anyway.
Yeah.
And then he passes like an 11, I think it was.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, it's only -1 that I can see on the leadership test for the Lannister supremacy, so it's not the worst.
No, it's not. I mean, that's the downside by having Lannister supremacy sit next to trees.
It is nice that he's managed to get that order off you. Because now the dog can have a nip at you, or there's a few other options. 3-up armor saves are a great equalizer as well.
Yeah, this is the card though, the Howland Reed card that forces you to take a morale test at all the minuses for missing ranks. Yeah. And so I passed it, but because I was panicked, I rerolled and just died. And so that was the activation.
There you go.
Which was a huge pain.
Yeah, that was good.
But I guess the good part about it is that neither of them get to pivot because they didn't kill me in combat.
Yep. So there's not too many advantages you can take from that at the moment. I'm still scared of Rickon sitting there with a chunk of points.
Yeah, the fact that he's down, like I get that they're still on a 3-up save, but the fact that he's down to 2 models is amazing. And then I've even been thinking about other alterations or iterations in this, and it would be to take Jaime Lannister, the King's Slayer, not the King's Slayer, the King's Guard version.
Is that the one that kills models?
Yeah, it kills attachments. Yeah, because you could just go up and snipe people, and just kind of be like, okay, great, you're done.
Yeah,
you're now not as scary as before. But he's just successfully managed to kill 2 units in a row.
Yeah. Eventually, the power of those units are going to come through. He's put a lot of points into them.
Yeah, I mean, that's a 9-point unit there for 2 activations. So realistically, it's actually only like a 4.5-point unit.
Yeah. Still not a great scenario. There's still a lot of points for you to pick up from this turn as a Lannister player.
Oh, yeah.
And the crown zap hasn't happened yet either, which is interesting.
Yeah, it's weird. With this list, I understand the crown zap is viable, but I found that I only did it, I think, turn 1 and potentially turn 2. And then generally, if I was grabbing the crown, it was usually with the Ruse, and I was just using that to put out panic tokens because I just needed it to be there. So I think the Stark player crown zapped me more than I crown zapped him. Except for I think this time he's playing sudden charge.
Gotcha.
to jump into my side.
Read over here. Charge into
So he's
your
going to
side.
pivot slightly.
Yep.
Yeah. Looks like an auto charge.
Yeah. He's in and he's not disordered.
This might hurt. I mean, it should hurt. It should
Yeah.
hurt a lot.
I guess the good part about it is that he doesn't have Sundering.
He does in your flank, doesn't he?
Yeah, but I mean, he doesn't have Sundering as well, so it's not taking it to a 5, it's just taking it to a 4,
Ah, gotcha.
For the D3.
D3.
which is 50-50 odds.
Which you should fail 50% of the time.
Yeah,
But we've been witnessing some of your dice. Is that well for the roll?
it is. So I don't block D3, but I just go back up to a 3.
Nice. Fail a couple.
And so I lost 2, I think.
Yeah. Looks
No,
like
3.
there's a,
There's a third.
yeah. Doesn't look like there's any freeze there, but so
There's 1 just up at the top.
beautiful. Well,
So it saved me a rank, basically. So then,
and you haven't used the order on this unit, so
yeah. So yeah, I fail morale because base is 7. So now this is when I use my order.
I'd almost be inclined to not.
Yeah.
And I'm only saying that because you only had 2 wounds. I would have used it against the Tullys.
-3, basically. -2.
Yeah, lost the model. No, lost the panic test.
Lost the panic token, yeah. So he's taking, so far he's taking 3 wounds, I think. So yeah, it's -2 all up.
So it's minus.
At which point you cause the fail. And so that's the whole, I think the whole purpose for having Ruse is just to have those panic tokens readily available.
Yeah, gotcha. It definitely synergizes very well.
Yeah. So I think, and you kind of have to have Cersei because she's the underslung hero of panic. Just causing people.
You know, she's no one ever looks at her from moderating the game rules or anything like that. It's like she never comes up.
No.
And I know a lot of new players hate her with a passion, and more experienced players understand a bit more about how the game works and that she's strong, but she's not. She's not.
Yeah.
By any stretch.
No. So this is something key. Liam's just started shooting into me, like shooting into combat.
Yep.
So I didn't bother rolling the D3 because if I failed, I died, and I failed badly.
Yeah, but if you rolled a 1 on that, yeah.
But now he has to take 2 panic checks. So for the first one, which is good,
Yeah. And then for the ports,
and then these guys are -2.
-2 because of Cersei. Probably going to disappear.
So they pass at the moment. So what I'm doing is I am flipping the panic token and taking Cersei off for reasons I'm not quite sure. Made him re-roll the 6 because essentially he needed to roll another 6, and then lost the unit, which netted me 2 points. So it was in my mind, it was a fair exchange.
4, 6, 7. Yeah.
It's a good exchange.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like realistically, it's 1 point.
It's a 1 point swing.
One extra point for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then obviously the token has moved in all of the kerfuffle of killing units.
Yeah. That's all right. It's easy enough to place her back where she belongs.
No, they weren't deployed.
Oh, right. Are you deploying them? Is that your thing?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So.
Yeah, so we were having some discussion about it, and then we just kind of went, oh, that's right. That's not there. It needs to be further back.
That's moved.
Yeah.
So.
It's moved a lot.
Is a unit up the top end there, your painted guys?
Yeah.
Are they actually activated? Or...
No, they took a free maneuver with Ruse to get close.
So they're threatening dogs. And...
Yes, they're going to charge into the dog. And I think this is the one downfall for Lannisters in the sense that their base guard units aren't that good.
6 dice is not great, but hey, that's just game balance in my mind.
Yeah.
It's like there's a reason for this, and that's because of every other factor in the Lannister arsenal. Because you can play a very similar spammy halberdier army with Tywin or something like that, and get some raw power out there, but you don't get anywhere near the same sort of control.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, one thing, and I know this is obviously us talking about rules, and I think I digress a little bit on my Dothraki ones, which I'll leap back around to. I would like to see them be able to hit on 3s.
Which guys?
Just the standard Lannister guardsmen. I still have 6 dice, just hit on 3s.
Instead of 4s.
Yeah. Or 8 dice on 4s.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, like realistically, they're the same point cost as Starks.
Yeah, it's a different. I mean, I believe it's for plot purposes. Like, they're basically saying that the Starks have got a real martial tradition in there, so they got good leadership and they hit like brick shit houses, but they're not armored or equipped as well. Whereas everything about the Lannisters is the opposite. It's like maybe some of the guys are a little reluctant to do what they do. But they're told what to do and they're given incredible equipment.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the deal. I think it's just a fluff thing. It's like it obviously factors in what they're doing because they're making changes to the rules to get the feel of certain factions right. Like they were worried that the Night's Watch weren't elite enough initially, so they wanted to up the points of the Sworn Brothers to reflect that a bit more. And I'm like, oh, I didn't like it, but it made sense.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. I kind of wish they'd just removed either Sundering or Critical Blow
on
the Sworn Brothers.
Oh, bring him back a point.
And just bring him back to 6 points.
Look, I think Critical Blows, the one I think should go. I don't understand why they got Critical Blow. I mean, they got great big swords. That makes Sundering makes perfect sense, but I don't really understand why they have both rules either.
Yeah. But I think at this point he's triggering Hodor, so the 8 dice with a reroll is now 6 dice with no rerolls. But I still have Critical Blow and I still have Vicious.
Yeah.
And obviously Cersei has played her part. So it would be, I think that'll break the game. Could you imagine if you were able to move influence from units that died so it remained on the table?
Yeah, no. Not at this stage.
No.
Maybe that'll be a Theon thing.
Maybe.
We get the mighty Greyjoys when they join us. He came out of that pretty good.
Yeah, he only lost 1 model.
But he's got to take a leadership test.
Fails, and I think he loses. Yeah, and I thought he was rolling a D3, so I thought he lost another 6, but he only lost 5. I say only. It's still 5 models, still ranking a bit.
Yeah, that was pretty brutal.
Just a failed panic check.
Still got pretty good control. I think he's got 2 objectives in the hand, which is nice. I don't know. This is actually a very good game. Like, this is a fantastically tight game.
Yeah, I think the only reason he's obviously not scoring the top one is because I'm contesting it because he's only got 1 rank and I've got 3.
That's right.
But yeah, it's been pretty brutal, and he definitely caught up in this round.
So, and you got to remember the net loss on Rickon as well. So, that could be 7-7 if he'd activated Rickon's unit and done the run child run or something.
Yeah, exactly, and gone and put it into...
The archers, I think, were the only really viable option at that point. So.
Yeah, because I hadn't targeted them because they were sitting behind stakes, and I just couldn't... I don't have anything that's fast enough to get in there and get it done.
It's up to him to hurt himself by shoot.
Yeah, exactly. And so, yeah, moving into round 6.
Well, who's got the first activation this time?
Liam.
Okay, cool. So he's got an opportunity to do something with that.
Yeah.
I don't think he's got line of sight for a flank charge on the Mountainsmen, which is a shame, because that would have worked very nicely.
Yeah, I think he might have just spun himself out, or if he does, he'll be clipping the back corner.
Yeah.
Turn Howland from board.
Oh, hang on. Oh, he's done Aya.
Plan 1.
Oh, free maneuver. Very
Yeah.
good.
Start of the round.
To make a free maneuver.
Make a free
Forgot all
maneuver.
about that.
It's going to be Rob Stark. 'Cause I don't
Could be
want
giving
to-
away an objective though, at this point, which is kind of interesting.
And then pivot, so
I think
Yeah.
he should have rotated a bit more there. He's probably left himself a bit too close.
Well, he still gets to go though.
Yeah, that's fair.
use Howland Reed.
But does he try to go on a free charge, or does he activate and just go?
The sword.
He's just activating and going with 6 dice and 3 models.
Gotcha.
I think I probably,
Back with here.
if it was me, I potentially would have used Roderick
But I do
just for the critical blow, just because it's precision and it's gonna just double down on death.
Insane bullshit.
no saves.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, I don't have anything else I can do.
Oh, well, we'll see.
I wish I still had Bran, but I need to get
So they don't get the +1 to hit anymore, which is quite good.
Fuck off.
They're here on freeze.
Yeah, they hit on 3s.
So 6 are dead.
to
That's 6 wounds.
3. Yep.
Yeah, it still took 6 out. Pass on morale on a 7.
Don't think I'm within. No, I'm within 6 + 1. So 6.
But I mean, that's a unit and a half.
Yes.
Just on 1 rank. It's insane.
Yeah. They share their berserkers pedigree. That is for sure.
Yeah, I think the other smart thing about it too is not taking the money bags. Is he frees himself up for another charge and a free attack with Rob's unit, and I now have to, if I want to do anything, I have to activate the Mountains Men.
Yeah, I personally would have charged Rob's unit in
Crown.
because there was an opportunity here for you to escape that trap.
Minus 1, I think.
And all you gotta do is kill
Yeah, I am, yeah.
3 models, which seems pretty easy.
Because I need them
Yeah, I mean, with Cersei and stuff, like, it should be okay.
to end up on the other side.
But then he plays his second Direwolves further.
Yep.
And then +1 because of the. Oh, yeah, -2 in total, yeah.
Gives him +2,
Make it
plus
+1.
So
plus 2, +3. A lot of extra there. I don't think he's gonna lose the models.
yeah, +4. And then because he controls the swords, I just took wounds.
Take 2 wins.
Gotcha.
So it ended up being a +1 overall. So it went from leadership, I think, 7 to 6 or 6 to 5 or whatever they are.
Yeah, I think it's 6 to 5.
I mean,
Good play.
good enough, but
Good play.
Yeah, it was an excellent play.
This is fine. This is fine.
this is absolutely fine. Yeah, pretty much.
And then he's gonna get
I'm going to use.
a charge.
Yeah.
So he gets his way anyway. That's good.
Yeah, exactly.
Playing.
Something I potentially should have checked is if the Lannister guardsman, because watching it from this angle, it was different. Obviously, looking at it front on, but I feel like I might have still been able to clip the back of his base.
Yeah, possibly. And as I said, I got a feeling he's just a bit too close to you. But I mean, we're watching an angle,
Yeah, exactly.
and you are 6 rounds into a game, so I don't think it's all forgivable stuff. But,
Epic.
And, oh no, I think I'm dead. On a 5-up save, like unless you just roll.
and I kind of like watching Lannisters die a little bit too.
No, look, I understand. We're the underslung heroes of the Imperium. Sorry, the.
Yeah, whatever. I don't think 3 of those words should be in the same sentence when you're talking about a Lannister, or any sentence, or any combination of.
Okay, we are the Alpha Legion of the game.
You are the Lannister, right? That's it.
Oh man, but yeah, no, this list, playing this list was incredibly fun.
Yeah, I can see a lot of potential in it. I like it. I would love to test it out.
The other way, I had a bit of a change with it. The other way is to take Ramsay as a commander and then switch out one of those units for to switch out Sandor Clegane's unit for Bolton Blackguard,
Okay.
and then switch out one of the other Lannister units for another unit, Bolton Blackguard, that holds Ramsay,
Yeah.
just because they've got the 3-up save and they've got really good, well, better than average morale. And then
do.
essentially, you just drop Sandor's unit onto an objective and you say, right, yeah, please feel free to charge me. You charge. Okay, great, take a morale test. And if you fail, you're losing an additional 2 people for nothing.
Did you get to activate that unit?
No.
Okay.
Because after I've done melee attack,
And now we're just checking this interaction because obviously the way dervishes are worded is after they make a melee attack, they can retreat.
Yes.
But we found out that you have to obviously be engaged for the retreat to count as a retreat action. So we were working out whether or not you could essentially move twice.
Yeah, it's not a free maneuver. So,
No.
no.
but also rules of risk.
So yeah, he just surges
Depends on if retreat requires.
after we check the rules.
Oh right, yeah, good point.
Because that'll be the question.
Yes.
Retreat.
Mate, all the free stuff that Starks get kind of makes me sad as a Dothraki player that you don't have similar sorts of abilities.
They're slippery and they slide all over the table, and there's not much you can do to stop them if they're played well.
Yeah,
they're
no.
very strong.
Yeah, I mean, in our particular meta, Starks just move left to right at the top every time there's a new update or a change.
So I'm going to take.
Yeah, pretty much.
They're so good. I really like them. But
Well, a lot of us did. You know, to be fair, a lot of us got into the game quite early and had the Kickstarter, box sets, and all we had was Lannister and Starks to play with at the beginning.
yeah,
I love the fluff of the Starks. I just don't enjoy what they do to people. It was a bit one-sided in the game wise.
yeah, no, I understand that. It's
And even though we're making fun of it, I do actually, I have a little bit of a soft spot for the evil bastards that are Lannisters.
yeah,
If they're played well, as long as it's not against me, I'm quite happy.
yeah, I can understand that. I can understand that. That was it. Looping back to my Dothraki rules change probably an hour ago. So the one thing I would change, I would still keep the attachments as purchasable attachments for Zorse Riders, Flayed Men, and essentially any other neutral cavalry unit that's going to come out that you can put into your army. But for the specific units that they're associated with, so the Screamer Co and the Outrider Co, I would have them as built-in rules. So Screamers, when you charge, you get Sundering. Outriders, you can flip an order to make something vulnerable.
Maybe. I'm just a bit worried about I think they're good value for money for the points.
Well,
I just like them at 6 points and the abilities that they have.
Oh no, I think those are good. I would just add those as additional.
Yeah, well, you want to make them better for the same points.
Well, I mean, my reasoning for this is based on the Ranger trackers, in the sense that they're 6 points.
Yeah, but you're yeah, I get that, but that's that trap that we all like to fall into, where we compare units versus units in a bubble. But if you look at how the Night's Watch is not a very strong cavalry force, that doesn't have I think they have one card in their entire deck to help movement. It's not their bag. It's not what they're about. And the Dothraki, I call them Dothraki, but they're not. They're Targaryens. The Targaryens play in a very different style, and those two cheapish cavalry units mean a lot more in that Targaryen force. So I always try and look at what do they offer the faction.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Does that make sense? You know what I mean? Like I always try not to ever compare to same cost units and go, they cost the same, so they should do the same. I'm like, well, no, that's not really the way I think of it. It's like you've got to figure out where they sit in the faction.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
And then there's a cost of opportunity. Talk about 7 point units in a Stark list. Like that's where the sweet spot is for so much of the Stark stuff. Berserkers and Great Axes. And so many cool things can happen at that point thing. So that's why Tullys, who I always thought were great, struggled because they just wouldn't be selected. And yet, if the Tully was offered in any other faction at those points, you'd consider them.
Oh yeah, I would jump all over that.
Yeah, I can imagine the Tullys do quite well in, say, a Baratheon style.
Oh, that's okay.
They would definitely offer something in that style.
Well, there's a similar Baratheon-style list. This is kind of where I got my inspiration from, where you just take Wardens. So you have 5 units of Wardens, and 3 NCUs, I think. And I think you can put Master Wardens in 2 of the units,
Yep.
I want to say. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, plus 6 is 31. Then you get the free NCU.
You taking a Renly?
No. You take the NCU Commando one in Renly's force, I think it is.
Okay.
But that's essentially where I kind of got this idea from.
It's not bad. Like, I don't mind it. I play a 6 activation Tully for list, but it's pretty strong. Like, it's very healing with Ned Stark and the Blackfish, and just a smattering of stuff in the infantry. I think it's like trying to remember her name, the Knight. I have one of her in one of the units. It's Tully Infantry and 2 units of Tully Cavalry. And your opponent can alpha strike you. Like, there's not much you can do about it. You're pretty slow. But if you survive that alpha strike, you're almost impossible to remove off the table.
Oh, is it the Mormont attachment?
Yes.
Yeah, she's excellent.
Yeah. Just to dish out some damage. And I found that it's like such a small, like it's a Stark list, but it's only got 6 activations, like 4 on the table and 2 on the board. And that feels so wrong. Like playing Starks without activations, but I played it a couple of times now and I've had good results with it, so people just don't know how to deal with it.
Yeah,
and I'm pretty sure the Baratheon Renly show can do something very similar.
Well, I mean, I'm looking forward to the Rose Knight show.
Rose Knights and Champions. The Knights Champions?
Champions of the Stag, yeah.
Champions of the Stag. Like, there's just so many good things to happen for Renly in my mind.
Honestly, it's so good. I mean,
it's wrong because he's not the best. Like, Stannis should be the best, and everyone knows that. But at the moment, Renly has got all the good toys.
All right. This is me needing to kill a dog on 1 wound, and I did it.
Yay. Does that give you the win?
It puts me on 11. And so, obviously, you have to play out the round, but then he plays the North Remembers to remove the activation banner from those battles there.
Yeah, because you killed the dog.
Yeah. And that's another thing, too. I hate the fact that you can trigger that off a dog.
Look, even the Night's Watch don't mind throwing Ghost out there and letting an opponent kill them.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I've done it on the channel. Go back and check out the video.
Well, there's 2 cards, so I guess 4 cards in most decks. You know, you can either bring the dog back with 1 wound on a leadership test, which is just ridiculous. If it ruins your opponent's day, or the other option, freeing up NCU off the board and getting some more action happening on the table. It shouldn't happen, or an activation banner. It's just a super bonus, for basically a 0-point model.
Yeah, it's so good. And I can understand the argument here to take John as your commander every time.
Well, I try to fit him in as an attachment sometimes. But I often find myself getting towards that's a terrible leadership check.
Yeah, that was very poor.
I try to get come back to the objective.
Because, I mean, realistically, speaking to that leadership check, I just needed him to fail. Yeah. Because, he had Cersei, it would have been Lannister Supremacy, it would have been -3. Yeah. And so it's just brutal. But essentially, this takes us to 11-11 at the end of the turn. So it was an incredibly close game.
Did you guys have to go to the
tiebreakers? Yeah, absolutely. And so I'd never done it before, so I think this is us working out the tiebreaker now, yeah. And so because I killed Robb Stark's unit after it activated with Lannister Supremacy, I won.
So it stays off the board.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Correct, yeah. So, sorry, anticlimax there for everyone that was watching that, waiting to work out who won.
No, that makes sense.
I think I had 26 points worth of units on the board. And again, because the Mountains Men hadn't activated as well and got charged twice, it was excellent. it was fine. And so yeah, it's I had 3 units of Lannister guardsmen at 6 points, and then an 8-point unit of Mountains Men with Clegane.
I think that's a pretty fair result too.
Yeah, it was such a hard fought game. It's just ups and downs, and I mean, it would have been different, I think, if we were playing a different scenario where you couldn't bring units back, because I don't know if there would have been as much swing, shall we say? Once I cracked Hodor's unit.
Well, no, because I killed.
I mean, basically, Rickon cost him.
Yeah, that
Going
was
back
the
to-
point.
18, 12, 20,
That was the point. And I think what's Osh's ability after you're attacked? But then it didn't matter because he was shot into.
7, 14.
That's right. So that wouldn't have actually triggered. So you got to lose it from the lane. And yeah, we have the handshake that we do at the end of the game.
Yeah, that's it.
That was
Well, anyway.
a fantastic game. Well played.
Thank you.